Here's a game, Taltalik. Let's see, I had time to play d4. d4, e6. Well, maybe we'll transpose into a French defense. Yes, we do. Okay. And he takes. This is the Rubinstein variation of the French. He's not playing the Fort Knox variation. You can sometimes get to the Fort Knox variation with bishop d7 to c6. But he's just developing his knight. Pretty logical. I don't have to defend that pawn just yet, or do I? Yes, I do. Okay, let's just defend the pawn with a pawn. Set up a solid structure here. And looks like he'll probably castle kingside. And I think I will too. Just normal development here. Defend that knight. And we'll get this kind of game. So he's stopping me from trading off his knight. So his kingside looks pretty secure. Wonder if I could cause this knight a little bit of discomfort here. See if that knight really wants to, has anywhere great to go. Aha. Well, I'm gaining space on the queen side at least. And so I can push that pawn forward, and also I don't want to trade rooks. So he just moves the knight out of the way. That pawn is defended. I don't have to push forward here. Let's see, where's the dark squared bishop here is his good bishop. So I'm wondering about bishop to a3 here, maybe trying to provoke a trade of that bishop. Could take the knight and bring the bishop out to this diagonal. I could put my knight to c4. That looks interesting too. What's he going to do? He'll probably kick it. But then that leaves the a-pawn hanging. Although, is it really hanging? If I take it, maybe my knight gets trapped there. There's no way to get back out from that position. So if I go here and he kicks it, have I accomplished anything, or do I just drop back? Drop back here. That would lose the a-pawn. Kicks it, I take the light squared bishop maybe. And claim that I have the bishop pair. Anyway, it looks like something interesting. And he has to do something. I'm attacking the b pawn there. So he drops back and defends. Okay. Well, let's get the bishop out to f4, I think. Now the question is, if I play bishop f4 and he goes knight here, do I have a good move, or do I let him take the dark squared bishop? Let's play, once again, we'll play h3 first to prepare bishop to f4. Ah, and he goes there. So is he wanting to take? I can take back with the queen or the knight. It's well defended, and it leaves him with an isolated pawn, so I don't have to respond to that. Let's continue with bishop to f4. I can put a knight on I can put a knight on e5. That might be interesting. Okay, and he goes after my soft spot. That's a good move. I should have thought about that. So it hits the bishop, and it hits this pawn. Yep. Now I don't want to give up the bishop or the pawn. I don't want to allow the trade of the bishop for the knight, so I don't want to give up that pawn. That's a pretty key piece to my position here. So now knight to e5. Looks like it puts a little pressure on. on c6 there. Well, that looks like a good move to start with. I'm wondering about these pawn pushes. Maybe an exchange and a push of the c pawn, or just pushing the c pawn without the exchange. This is defended, so he's not taking anything. Oh yeah, so he decides to go ahead and exchange at this point. So I do win that dark squared bishop. And where's his knight going? Well, his knight doesn't have to move, but it's looking at these pawns. Yeah, where's my knight going? That's the question. Well, he gave me g6 with that move. Maybe I should switch my attention to the king side here now that he's migrated all his pieces over here. He has indeed. So queen to h5. Does that threaten bishop takes h6? Pawn takes, queen takes. The rook comes over. There's a check here. Maybe I want the queen on h4. Sack the bishop here. Take there. No, his knight is defending that. Interesting. So if I exchange on b5, pawn takes, or knight takes, and then push the pawn. We can't take with a knight, so he has to take with a pawn, because I'll push, and that would be a fork. So pawn takes, probably he'll take with the a pawn, open up his rook, and keep this pawn here. Then I can push here, hitting his knight, force another trade. I think maybe I can end up with some kind of pawn majority here on the queen side, although my d pawn will be weak. Should I do something to prepare this first? So pawn here, if he takes, take back. Otherwise I'm threatening to take and actually win a pawn. Let's take a look at the e pawn there. I could go knight to, so he decides to harass my knight. He doesn't like it there anymore. That also opens up the queen onto the, onto the d pawn here, so it discourages me from playing c4, but I can bring my knight here and attack his, that was his idea. His idea was to push forward there. Okay, so if I take, and he takes, my bishop is defended by the knight, but the knight is hanging. I could play bishop to, I could do that now. I could play bishop here. Let's take first, and then play bishop here. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, that's too bad. Because of knight takes, rook takes knight. So bishop here, rook takes knight, bishop takes, pawn takes. He got two pieces for his rook, and my bishop is hanging. And knight here is no good. Just need a tempo move for the knight, that this pawn is hanging. But unfortunately, when I move the knight, the bishop hangs. All right, so a tempo move for the bishop. That was why I think bishop to g6 was my idea, hitting his rook. I guess I have to play that. But I don't think it's good anymore. So if pawn takes knight, then I can take his rook. But he has rook takes knight, bishop takes, then pawn takes. Maybe trade queens and take his knight. Well, it's complicated anyway. Guess I better play a little faster here. He's got a giant lead on the clock. So he takes that guy. Now I can take here. So what is this going to be? Yeah, it's going to be a rook against two pieces. And I got a pawn. So technically that's about even. Yeah, so he activates his bishop. Let's see. Of course, I can put my bishop here. Let's his knight is defending there. Yeah, his minor pieces can be good when they're going. Let's kick his bishop and see where it wants to go to. Wants to go there, okay. Where is it going from there? It's going to that location. So now I can bring my rook all the way to the 7th rank here and take a look at his king. Yeah, this is starting to look good for me. I kind of like this. The check there. Okay, so he sacks white trades. That trade was on offer. Now there's this threat of rook here. I guess I should take this pawn first, though. Yeah, so rook here. Yeah, now I have two pawns. And he gets a check there. Let's see, he's got a check there, so let's avoid the check from the bishop, and avoid the mate. I guess it's not a mate. But I still don't like it. He's trying to trap me. Okay, so if he checks here, I can't run out. I have to go back here. He checks here, I go back here. It gives him a perpetual. How about if I push the pawn forward? He checks, I can go here. Okay, so let's threaten mate here. It's not mate. He can block with the bishop, isn't it? And threaten his pawn. But he has to do something. Okay, what does that do? Yeah, walked into a mate. Well, that was an interesting game. He put up a pretty good fight, and I think he had the advantage for a while. But if you look at his time, he's got 6 minutes left on the clock, and you know, he made that last move pretty quickly. I mean, he was thinking about it for a little bit, but obviously wasn't looking for my threats. He was just looking for what he could do. Anyway, fun game. I will upload this and do a post-mortem. See you guys later. Bye.